folks, it's me, Josh from Geeks For Hire. E3 2015 is coming to a close, and as much as there was tons of winners this year, there has to be some losing parts of this. So this whole video is just going to be chronicling from day zero, Bethesda, all the way up until Square Enix's press conference. So without further ado, let's get into it. Bethesda came out and they rocked it with a lot of games. But I'll be honest, their Battleborn game, their Team Fortress 2 lookalike, looked like Team Fortress 2 HD. Totally uninterested, totally uninspired looking, and I was just really bored with it. I was not interested at all in that game. I think a lot of people are going to overlook that, and it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be kind of like Elder Scrolls Online where nobody cares. Moving along into the Microsoft one, because Bethesda, like I said, didn't really have any super low points. Neither did Microsoft, honestly. Microsoft's lowest point, if we're being real, was early access. Early access is, I'll cover that in a separate video. I actually really want to cover why early access is a blessing and a curse. But early access on consoles is bad, whereas modding is great because it promotes community. Early access promotes the idea of community. It's like, hey, pay me $60 for something that may not come out, that I'm going to work on for the next 8 years and then complain about. It doesn't work as well as it should, and there are plenty of success stories and plenty of horror stories. Xbox One is really going to go and just drop that shit. It'll be Kinect all over again. But yeah, that was a terrible, terrible thing. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, I feel really terrible about because people should give a shit about that. That game looked... the original one's really good. I really like the original game. The second one looks really good. I probably will really like this game. No one gave a shit about it. I felt really terrible for the developers, but that was a total lose for everybody. EA came out and advertised all their cool EA Access program, which is really awesome if you're into sports games or into EA games. But nobody gave a shit about that. And then you showed us fucking Plants vs. Zombies 2. Nobody gave a shit about that. We know you wanted to hold Battlefront. But come on. You could have given us anything but that. Going into that, the Star Wars games look like garbage. EA, really should not. No. Bad, bad, bad. Battlefront looked lackluster. They have a collectible card game coming out for iOS and Android, which, I'm sorry, that ship sank a long-ass fucking time ago, back before it made it to Japan. It made it to America and sank. No, don't do that. Disney Infinity is the biggest, it's the most beautiful looking piece of shit ever. I want a Venom figure so bad, but I can't bring myself to buy it for a game that I know sucks. That game, they showed Disney Infinity 3.0 and people are like, oh my gosh, but Jedi characters. I'm like, yeah, I said the same thing when I saw Spider-Man and Venom. Those two look awesome. I still want them. Iron Fist looks awesome. I still want them. I'm not going to buy them. Because it's a shitty game. Why would I do that when I have the Amiibos and Skylanders? Two far superior products, flat out. Amiibos are way better in quality, in my opinion, and just overall, what I can do with them in-game. And let's face it, Skylanders is actually still really awesome. But, Disney Infinity blows chunks. Just not at all into that one. But yeah, that was a big, kind of moving along from the Microsoft one into the EA one, there was just a lot of games that EA showed off, outside of Battlefront, that were kind of meh, and I don't think anybody really cared about them. It kind of goes into the same thing with Ubisoft, where Ubisoft showed off Assassin's Creed, and nobody gives a shit anymore. I'm sorry, we don't. Assassin's Creed is boring now. I actually truly believe this. Ubisoft at one point made Prince of Persia, and I think that they should swap the two. 1 year release Prince of Persia, the next year release Assassin's Creed, and vice versa. Because they're very similar games, while being different enough, and giving you enough space to make a quality game instead of the shit you've been making. I'm sorry. This one has probably the cool storyline since Pirates, but I don't care. I really don't. Nobody else does either. Really just kind of this Ubisoft did that, The Crew as a game, people gave a shit about that ever. going back into Star Wars now, I think about things that people ever gave a shit about was the Old Republic is getting some big new expansion, and nobody gives a shit because nobody plays that game. I'm sorry, if you're an MMO and you're not, honestly, Guild Wars, Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, and to a much lesser extent WildStar at this point, like, get the fuck out. Don't even bother. Like, you need to do that, or you need to be an early access zombie survival sandbox game. In which case, you're not an MMORPG. You're just an MMO. But like that, no. The crew and Old Republic were dead on. Like, well, the Old Republic wasn't dead on arrival. It was dead not long after arrival. But like, no, nobody gives a shit about those things. Hitman kept getting shown by everyone, and nobody gave a shit. I felt terrible for Hitman because Hitman looks like it could be good. Nobody cares. Hitman is another one of those series where you got to do something really cool to get people invested in it again, and no one did. They just sort of were like, whatever, we'll do things, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever you say. Square Enix was very interesting because they had some of the best games shown, and then they like were really pushing things like Nier 2, where they're like, Nier 2. And I'm like, really? Coming soon, we'll show you more later. Then you should have said, we're from Japan, Tokyo Game Show, bitches. Like, we all know what you're doing. You're saving it for the Tokyo Game Show or your own special thing. Because you're gonna fucking blow our socks off with that shit. But yeah, like, whatever, fuck you. Nier 2 was meh. I mean, like, if we want to be real, nobody gave a shit about Kingdom Hearts mobile game, which was apparently not so good in Japan, so I don't see how that translates to mediocre in America. And as much as I want to like this game, I probably will. I will probably love this game. The world of Final Fantasy. People were like, fuck you, not 7 or 15. And I'm like, guys, it could have been 13-4. And they're like, no, we would have rather 13-4. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. No, let's not carry away. Like, I like the rest of 13. There's a reason they kept releasing them. But like, no. But World of Final Fantasy was like totally one of those games like the Garden Warfare 2, where nobody really cared. They were sort of like, oh, yay, it's not the game we cared about. Like, it was really weird, the fact that, like, these were games that were like, this is the hype game for the real game. But I will give this. It's a big deal in the aspect of that World of Final Fantasy is more of like a portable game or like a casual game. Kingdom Hearts was more of a casual game. This is going to become a trend, and I think that while like these games meant absolutely nothing to people there and to gamers at home, they're a big thing to point out because we all jizzed ourselves over the Fallout one because it was really good. This is going to become a big deal where we're going to have companion games for every game we play. That's a bigger deal than VR, in my opinion, is augmented reality. Watch Dogs was really on point, which is another thing I'm really shocked that was not shown at E3 back on Ubisoft there. Ubisoft also showed off their Rainbow Six Siege, and apparently it comes with 2 copies of Rainbow Six and Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2, which once again I'm like, yay, you're giving me yesteryear's versions of the game I'm playing now. I don't get this. Why would you do this? It's like Fallout 4 comes with Fallout 3. How much does Fallout 4 not have enough content? Do I need Fallout 3? I thought that was a really bad point to focus on. I was like, really? Okay. Sony showed off Dreams, which I think looks really good and will probably be way better. But it was like they really didn't give it enough time. Yeah, like I felt really bad about that one too. Nintendo didn't lose in the sense of that they had a bad game shown. There was no game that was like, oh, they're making that. Outside of the Animal Crossing games, both of those were like, oh, not The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. But I think that I was okay with that. Like, they've made it pretty clear that this game is like way outside of what their norm is, and I think I'm okay with that. I think a lot of people aren't. They want it now, and I don't blame them. I do too. But it's rough because you can't just release this game. Like, it's got to have some time to mature. But the Animal Crossing Amiibo game looked like really money grabby, which kind of goes into my other thing on like Amiibos are like really a big issue now because Nintendo is milking that shit. Much like Pokemon, Nintendo smells blood in the water, and Nintendo knows, man, people sure are buying the shit out of this. And unlike a lot of places where they're like, what are we going to use this for? There's a lot of fucking things you can use an Amiibo for, and they are showing it, and I'm impressed. I'm not gonna lie, the new Animal Crossing game made me want to get a new 3DS. I'm debating trading in my 3DS XL to get a new 3DS XL because I want to be able to smack cards against it. And it hit me, I'm like, oh no, I don't like this because that means Amiibos are a big deal, and I'm like, fuck. But like, yeah, I mean, outside of the heavy emphasis on you are going to want Amiibos, I was pretty okay with that. I thought it was kind of lame that Hyrule Warriors looks like it's like going to be a definitive edition of Hyrule Warriors 3DS version, and I'm only like butthurt about that because the Wii U one put a lot of work in, and now it's just kind of like, eh. So, but yeah. Overall, though, I think that like even then, like there really wasn't that many losers per se. I think that a lot of the losing parts were aspects of not showing something, not showing enough of something, or in the case of like Nintendo, showing the wrong things. They wanted to show things that were coming out, and it was obvious. And because Nintendo Directs are relatively regular, you're going to see more. They don't give a shit about E3 in the same way that like every other company does. Because when you really think about it, Nintendo has been doing Nintendo Directs. Sony doesn't really do that. Microsoft attempted to, but nobody gives a shit about that Xbox Gamer Group crap. Because it's always, look at how cool Halo is, and we're kind of bored of how cool Halo is. But yeah, like overall, I thought E3 was pretty good. So while these are the losers per se, in my opinion, there's not a whole lot to say about them outside of the ones that sucked, and the ones that got undershot. E3 kicked ass this year. I'm really disappointed in EA and Star Wars. Hopefully the movie kicks ass. That being said, we're going to close this out right here. Once again, as always, if you could like, subscribe, let us know if you liked the video, let us know if you didn't like the video. If you totally agreed with me or if you totally disagreed with me, let me know in the comments. We also have now Facebook, we also have Twitter. We're going to have all those in the description below. But as always, this is Josh from Geeks For Hire. Y'all take it easy.